Hello, and welcome to the Core Dog Experience here, talking Ohio State Buckeyes and college sports in general. So if you're feeling what you're hearing as the video progresses, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Help a brother grow this thing out. Before I get into first round playoffs, just want to again give a thanks out to all the folks that peeped my Michigan video following our defeat, and how many of the Michigan fans came through, commented, subscribed. So again, just want to show my appreciation for all you Michigan fans. If you happen to be catching this one as well, I do appreciate it. So again, thank you guys for that. With that said, with that out the way, let's talk about this game. Ohio State, Tennessee. Beat down. This is the type of game we needed coming off that Michigan game. And for those that did watch my thing regarding the Michigan game, I said I hope Ohio State learns something from this game and incorporates it in the playoffs. And I think they did. Shouldn't have took a loss to Michigan for them to figure it out, but I think they did. 42-17. It doesn't get any the worst beatdown of the first round of the playoffs. You wondered how they would respond following that Michigan game, and they said he said it. We can't let this loss, the Michigan, turn into a second loss. We got some other stuff to play for. A lot of times actions don't back up the words, but I think in this case they did. Ohio State came out ready to play. I think they learned something from that Michigan. You play to your strengths. The biggest takeaway from that Michigan game. So thank you, Michigan. Got to nail it into Ryan Day's head. You look for silver linings, and hopefully coming out of that Michigan game, you play to your strengths of your team. Stop trying to coach to prove a point, which I said repeatedly about Ryan Day. One of my biggest things with him is he tries to prove a point instead of coaching to win. This game, you could tell by the play calling alone, they were coaching to win the game. And it played out. And you see it in the play calling, the preparation. They were coaching to win the game, not so much to prove how tough they were, because they're going up against an SEC team. He blocked out all the chatter, and he was just coaching. They coached to win the game. But if we're going to the actual game, they had a lot of motivation going into the game. Not only were they pissed off following the Michigan game, but just the chatter going into the game from everybody. Ohio State fans, let's fire Ryan Day. Do all just non-stop for ever since the Michigan game. Then the Tennessee folks. Y'all is annoying as hell. I don't get all the pregame crap that was being talked about by these Tennessee fans. It's just, okay, we had a bad game against Michigan, and I guess I get it to a certain point, but y'all talking like y'all Kirk Signetti and Ohio State sucks and stuff about what y'all were going to do following the game. They had a route, y'all. They had a route all mapped out on how they're going to take our goalpost down, the Ohio State goalpost down, and they're going to transport it to the river and throw it in. This is before the game. They talking about this is how we going to get to the river once we tear down the Ohio State goalpost. Once we go in there and stomp Ohio State, we're going to tear down their goalpost, take it to the river, and throw it in. We're going to do that after we plant our flag on their field and hope they charge it with a felony. I'm so mad that lawmaker did that crap, but anyway. But the amount of crap they were talking, you would have thought that they were a Nick Saban coached Alabama team. Well, reality, y'all just an average, middle of the road Tennessee team. Average. Oh, y'all talking like y'all done a whole bunch of stuff when you really haven't. But they're talking a bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of stuff. And you know, there's one reason, like I said, Michigan, Ohio State, to me, best rivalry. I have fun with it. I told you I have a lot of family, friends that favor Michigan over Ohio State. And you know, we go back and forth. And at this time, you respect the rivalry. Even though if you don't like the team, I ain't a big fan of Michigan. Don't like them, but I respect the rivalry. I'm glad Ohio State is part of that rivalry. So when you got teams from the SEC, like I said, I ain't gonna say hate the SEC, but I greatly dislike the SEC. So when they talk a bunch of crap, you know, it's hard to take. Like, I root for SEC teams. Is the only time I actually root for Michigan in football, because you know, just like the respect thing. Ohio State, Michigan, we can talk our crap to each other, we do our crap to each other. And I know all Ohio State fans ain't like this, and I know all Michigan fans ain't like this, but for me, I'm sort of like this. I can talk my crap to Michigan and stuff and have fun with it, but don't let other teams. But when Michigan play SEC team, more times than not, I'm gonna root for Michigan, because it's Big Ten, and I don't. That's just how much I dislike the SEC. It's just, I mean, so like when Michigan play Alabama, I hope Michigan beat Alabama. I just do. Big Ten, SEC. That's how much I dislike the SEC. So when they talk all they muss and crap and stuff, it's like, y'all ain't. Bro, do y'all know y'all's road record and top 10 matchups? Y'all ain't all that good in these type of matchups. Now, I know Ohio State's had their issues with the SEC. Ryan Day has his issues in big games, but just the amount of stuff that was being talked about was like, whoa. Just be careful. You don't want to wait. Like, so Ohio State was already sort of pissed off. You were hoping, being a Buckeye fan, they were already sort of pissed off about how that game went down. And you sort of pissed off about all the stuff that was being thrown at Ryan Day, because Ohio State fans can be vicious. I mean, they ran off the quarterback last year. They ran off Kyle McCord, and they trying to run off Ryan Day. So much so that Nick Saban had to say, you know what, just cut it. Cut it out, because you look at the end of the day, a lot of fans, Ohio State fans, that percentage that want him gone, and that's, I do think it's a percentage that's growing because of the Michigan stuff. They want Ryan Day gone, but like Nick Saban said, it's hard to win in college football. Ask Alabama this year. Nick Saban gone, they got 3 losses, lost to Vanderbilt. Programs just don't win. Alabama wasn't nothing until Saban got there. We're going to see how they sustain with Saban gone. It's hard to replace coaches that are winning coaches. I mean, it was that easy. It was all about beating Michigan and doing what you needed to do. Urban Meyer would have 2 or 3 national championships, because Urban Meyer beat Michigan on a regular basis, but Urban Meyer lost games he had no business losing to. It was all about beating Michigan, and Urban Meyer should have more national championships. But you got some fans who just want to beat Michigan, and everything else I don't get it. But like Saban said, cut the BS. We got a good coach. Does he need to tweak some stuff against his Michigan stuff and get the Michigan stuff out of his head? Yeah, he do. But other than that, he a good coach. I think he a good coach. People talk about his championship record and the CFP. The fact is, he's getting there. But the other coaches can't say that. He's getting there. But, you know. So anyway, going into the game, Ryan Day had a lot of distractions. Detractors who were in Ohio State had a lot of folks. Tennessee fans doing their stuff, talking their crap, talking about they gonna take over Columbus, and they had a pretty good significant folks in the crowd. I can't say anything about how many fans actually showed up. They had a good representation there, so much so I don't know if it was them. You probably had some Ohio State fans in there too. I wouldn't pit it past them, but you know, during pregame warm-ups, Ohio State taking the field and they getting boos. Now, I don't know if it was all Tennessee fans. I don't know. But, Donovan Jackson said, hey, we heard some boos. Who they coming from? If they had that big of a presence there where the boos could be heard, that's again, you don't want to wake a sleeping dog and have him bite back. And being piled on for the last 2 weeks, hearing all the stuff about Ryan Day, this, that, and the other. Michigan and the players, they said, nah, not in our house, not today. I'm glad they showed up. I'm glad the team showed up and played the way we thought they could play. Why this team didn't show up against Michigan, I don't know. Ain't gonna rehash the game, but I said hopefully they learned something from it, and I think they did. First and foremost, throw the ball. Play to your strengths of your team. Stop trying to play to the strengths of another team, of other teams. Strength of Ohio State is throwing the ball. Don't mean they soft. It's just that's the strength of their team, is throwing the ball. Especially in particular this year, got a banged up offensive line. You throw the ball. And the Tennessee fans, they're even this would give me. You had Michigan fans acknowledge how good Jeremiah Smith is. Tennessee fans, not so much. We're going to take Jamal, whatever it's Jamal better than Jeremiah. He going to shut him down. They were actually saying that Jamal going to shut down Jeremiah. He ain't going to do nothing. That went out the window first series of the game. Jeremiah lit up Tennessee. Period. 6 catches, over 103 yards, 2 TDs. Lit him up. Think he put that to rest real quick. I mean, if you're going to be talking stuff, know what you're talking about first. I know y'all may have played Ryan Williams, and Jeremiah Smith to me is better than Ryan Williams. He just is. Not taking nothing away from him, but Jeremiah, he's a different dude. The best player on the field. You use him. Ohio State learned it. Shouldn't have took a Michigan loss, but they learned that you use your best players and you get your best players the ball. They did that often on that first series, and it set the tone for the rest of the game. Jermod is not going to be able to cover Jeremiah, period. And he wasn't. Jeremiah had his way with them. He had his way because Will Howard had a big day. He bounced back. Everyone's wondering how he was going to play following that Michigan game. He bounced back big time. The Michigan game was obviously his worst game of the season. You credit a lot of that to Michigan's defense and how they chose to play. He bounced back. Big day. The offensive line, we're going to get there a little bit. Offensive line gave him time. And Will Howard, I knew it was going to be a decent day throwing for him on his first touchdown pass to Jeremiah because he finally threw the deep ball on point. But he's had a habit of underthrowing deep balls this year. But that first pass to Jeremiah, it's like, okay, if he can keep attacking down the field and keep hitting those passes on the money, it's going to be a rough day for Tennessee because it's obvious after that first series, they could not cover Ohio State. Became even more evident during the second series when he dropped another dime to Mecca to get down inside the 5-yard line. You can't get more accurate than that. He was throwing dimes pretty much all game long. He had a big game. Nearly over 300 yards passing. Was a 24 out of 29. Had the 2 TDs, the 1 INT. We gonna get there. But Will Howard had a day, and he was on point. He was accurate, made good reads all throughout the game, and he was on point. He has that type of quarterback performance moving forward. They're gonna be tough to beat. They are gonna be tough to beat. You don't want to throw everything on this one game and project it going forward, but if they play like this, they're gonna be a tough out, not as Oregon included. And then the defense, like I said, Jeremiah had a day. Will Howard had a day, spread the ball around. Not only Jeremiah, but Emeka had a day. Just they couldn't cover Ohio State. couldn't cover us. They couldn't get to Will Howard. Again, kudos to that offensive line, makeshift offensive line, but he was dropping dimes. And going into this game, we said Ohio State needed to start fast, something they really haven't done all year. You start fast in the first quarter. They've been prone to wait until the second half to get things going, or the second quarter most times to get stuff going. But they came out the gate right away, and 21, before you knew it, it was 21-0. It was 21-0 before you could even blink an eye. And that's the type of start they needed to put a lot of the doubters to rest, to put some stuff into Tennessee and what their game plan was going to be and what they were thinking. Buckeyes needed a fast start. 3 scores on your first 3 possessions, that'll do it. Big plays after big plays. The offensive line held up, got a little bit of running room. And Ohio State, they came to play. They heard all the stuff, and they let it out on the field. You don't wake sleeping giants sometimes, and I ain't gonna. And we'll see how it plays out moving forward. But offense was on point. We knew the defense still had to come out and perform, and the defense finally. I ain't gonna say finally. They've been playing good defense ever since the Oregon game, in my opinion. And they put it on Tennessee. Decent offense, maybe not the best, but -6 yards after the first quarter. They couldn't move nothing. They couldn't move, and our defensive line was just they pretty much played a 4-man front, rush 4. They pretty much rushed 4 the whole game, and they were just causing havoc all game long for Nico. 4-man rush. They were able to stay back, zone, and cover up the receivers, and the 4-man rush was getting there. Their tackles, for all the talk about our offensive line, their offensive line could not handle Sawyer, JTT, whoever we brought in at defensive end. They could not handle our defensive front. And you heard coming into the game a lot of talk about Tennessee's defensive front. You know, how they're comparing it to Michigan's defensive front. I don't think they're quite as good as Michigan's defensive front on the interior, but that's all they rotate all these guys in and out. They're going to be problems for Ohio State's banged up offensive line. They're going to create problems. Will Howard, is he going to be able to throw? Is he going to have time to throw? Are they going to be able to open up running lanes? Check, and check. They were able to do all of the above. He had time to throw. They opened up running lanes when needed. That the third TD on Henderson's touchdown run, a thing of beauty. Great play call, by the way, but the way they blocked it was it just opened up. And you're not catching, ain't too many people going to be catching Henderson from behind. This just, like I said, the play calling, the offensive line blocking was on point. They've been hearing it all year. Luke Montgomery, Several, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Austin, I think is Austin. Hinsman at center. So that the offensive line, they gelled, they came together, and for all the crap we've been giving Justin Fry in the offensive line, they performed. He had to work around some injuries. Brought in McLaughlin from the Alabama, who couldn't get a snap off, but he comes here and he wins the Remington. Justin might be earning his keep. He talking about developing people. There's someone that Alabama ran off. McLaughlin comes here and he runs the Remington Award for being the best center. But the offensive line showed up, gave Howard Day time to Will Howard time to throw the ball, and he, like I said, he was putting it on the receivers in tight spots, tight windows. I said the first TD to Jeremiah was on point. That second offensive drive put it on the Mecca on point, and he was just good to go. Tennessee's, they couldn't handle our defensive line. Talking about defensive lines, I said, Ohio State, we got a D-line too. They ain't the only one who can rotate folks in and out. Ohio State's been stout all year up front, and they could not handle. I don't even think we blitzed that much. That's how bad JTT and Sawyer, if they weren't getting to the quarterback, they were knocking passes down. They were just, they were wreaking havoc, and I don't hear nothing about Dylan getting hurt, because when he went down, it was already 14-0. I believe Ohio State was already up 14-0 when he got hurt. Too bad he couldn't play. But I don't want to hear that as no excuse. Like I said, Ohio State had a makeshift offensive line going up against Tennessee's front, and Ohio State held their own. Injuries are part of the game. Have yourself a backup running back like Ohio State. Henderson, Judkins, we were good to go. Total domination, I believe, on both sides of the ball. Ohio State racked up nearly 500 yards of total offense. At the same time, they held Tennessee to under 300, which was their lowest output of the season. Like I said, they harassed Nico all day. Their only offense was him scrambling and running. That was basically their offense. Him scrambling around, keeping the chains moving, and getting first downs. That was basically their offense, was him running around and getting first downs, because they really couldn't do anything else. And he took some hits. Cracked the helmet. I was worried there when I saw that cracked down. I said, they going to call targeting? Because well, we know stuff don't normally go Ohio State's way in some of these things. But I was like, are they going to call targeting? Are they going? When you look at the replay, he's the one who lowered his head, so that's probably why we can't call targeting here. He's the one who lowered his head on the Cody. But penalty targeting stuff really don't go Ohio State's way in these type of games. Look no further than that in the interception. I know they credited Will Howard with an interception. The interception of itself, I think, is good. I think the dude did have the ball. He had his foot down. My issue with that play was it was pass interference before it was it was pass interference. You can't get no more pass interfered with than that. He wasn't looking at the quarterback. He had his body literally draped on Jeremiah. Where's the pass interference call? At that point, it was 21-0. They called pass interference there. This game's basically over for SEC. That wasn't supposed to happen to an SEC team to get down 28-0 that quick in the game. But that was pass interference all the way. But the interception in itself I thought was good, but it was pass interference before that. So they got the interception. Our interception. Ohio State, we got an interception. But lo and behold, roughing the passer. Questionable at best. It is what it is, but normally these type of games, those calls have always gone against Ohio State. This game was no different, except this time Ohio State will just outclass Tennessee so much it didn't hurt them in the end. But that's all I'm gonna say about that. All of us said Howard had a good game, good day, dropping dimes. Jeremiah dropping dimes. It finally looked like a complete team effort for once. We said what would happen if Ohio State could pit their offense and defense and get them working in unison and on the same page during the same game, and I think we saw the outcome, because this was a good Tennessee team and they made them look like a MAC team. They did. They couldn't stop Ohio State offensively at all. They pretty much did what we wanted to do on offense. We were running the ball nearly 5 yards a carry and throwing the ball over 10 yards per completion. They could do almost anything they wanted to do. The O-line showed up and showed out. It was just a good game all the way around. Again, I think all the talking from, even though a lot of folks did pick Ohio State, but still a lot of chirping, a lot of talking, a lot coming from Tennessee fans. Maybe not so much the team, but a lot of Tennessee fans talking about they're going to take over Columbus. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. They're going to plant flags. They're going to steal goalposts. It's like, y'all aren't Alabama. You're not a Nick Saban coached Alabama team to be doing all this talking. You just aren't. And I say Nick Saban coached Alabama team because we saw what Alabama's done this year. Which is nothing. That's why be careful about these coaching changes y'all be wanting to do, because Alabama ain't been Alabama this year at least. He may get it turned around, but not this year. 3 games. Vanderbilt lost. Looked terrible against Oklahoma. Come on now. Come on. You had that going against Tennessee. And then for me, I kind of thought it was going to be a good outcome, because I told you during that Michigan, if y'all watch my Michigan stuff, I told you sometimes some of us get superstitious or omens or whatnot to how certain stuff plays around and goes on. You know, it's funny. I know. But earlier that day, Ohio State blew out Kentucky in basketball. You know, I'll be getting these omens and stuff. Like I said, you watch our Michigan thing, I said earlier that weekend, Ohio State lost in basketball. I said, dang, this may not be good. I know it's silly, but I just think that sometimes. Sports fans, we have that stuff sometimes. I bet you right now, you got some people in Ann Arbor wearing their Michigan jersey, who ain't washed their Michigan jersey or whatever jersey they had on the first time Michigan beat Ohio State 4 years ago. You know they ain't washed that shirt since. You know that shit just as funky, but they ain't gonna wash it. You know why? Because that's the lucky shirt they had on when Michigan first beat Ohio State 4 years ago. I'm just saying, we can get crazy like that. So when Ohio State beat Kentucky, blew them out, I said, all right, this is a good omen going into Ohio State, Tennessee. Silly, I know, but I had a feeling. We blew out Kentucky in basketball, and we blew out Tennessee in football. Just means more, at least to Ohio State on this day. And you know what I thought was funny? That I knew, again, that we always talk about the cold weather. How's it going to be when the SEC team comes up north and has to play? It's sort of, I ain't going to say it played out like that. I don't know if the cold weather affected it or not. But when I saw this image of them running around during pregame without a shirt, then you knew the cold weather was in their heads. Because if it ain't tell me something's not in your head without saying it's not in your head. You go on your pregame warm-ups and you running around a stadium in 25-degree weather with no shirts. What you trying to prove? That right then and there tells me the cold weather was playing tricks on y'all, and you trying to prove it ain't just shows how much it actually was. I thought that was comical to do that, just to come out later, 10, 15 minutes later, and all bundled up. You ain't. So the cold weather, to me, was messing with him. I just thought the whole thing was comical. Again, you know what else? I didn't see following the game because there wasn't much to talk about. Tennessee made it interesting. They came back. We went up 21-0. They came back, got the 10 points, got it down to 11. So the second half was important to see how this game was actually going to trend. Because all year long, Ohio State's been a second half team. So they didn't do that against Michigan. They did not come out strong in the second half against Michigan. Michigan hung around and eventually won the game. So I was really curious to see, based on how that first half ended, how the second half was going to begin, especially with Tennessee getting the ball first. They couldn't move the ball. Ohio State goes down, scores. That was pretty much the ball game. Again, Will Howard kept dropping dimes. Defense kept harassing. And it just turned into a 42-17 rout. And it wasn't even that close. If you want to be honest, they scored a meaningless touchdown. It was just a blowout all the way around, and Ohio State dominated all the way around. The second half, I think, pretty much took the heart out of Tennessee when they couldn't muster anything, when they couldn't get any points on their opening drive coming out of the second half, and Ohio State just goes right down and scores. So again, that was pretty much ball game. You look up 28-10, you can't do nothing, you can't throw the ball, you know. Can't get no penalties on Grabby Igmanosin because he didn't. It wasn't the first game that Igmanosin did not have a penalty. Maybe the first game all year that Grabby Igmanosin did not have a penalty against him. So kudos for that's another good side. Because he good for, like I said, he was good for at least one pass interference call a game. He ain't get none. So good for him. But you know what else I didn't see following this game? A lot of talk about the 12-team playoffs, how it's going to play out, who's in, who's not. Following the first couple games, in particular that Indiana game, that's all you heard. Notre Dame whipped them, blew them out. Indiana, all the Lane Kiffin, Kirk Herbstreit, all of them. Indiana didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. It was a blowout. We need to rethink how we do this stuff. SMU, they get blown out by Penn State. Oh, SMU didn't deserve to be there. Yada 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 yada, and we need to rethink this. You know what I didn't see? After Tennessee got blown out, I'm still waiting on Lane Kiffin to tweet. Where you at, Lane? You ain't tweeted how Tennessee didn't deserve to be there. I'm still waiting on Kirk Herbstreit to tweet. If he has, I ain't seen it. About how they didn't deserve to be there. Wasn't this the 8-9 matchup? Wasn't this supposed to be the closest one of all the first round playoff games? This was the biggest blowout of all of them. Indiana gave Ohio State a tougher time than Tennessee did. I ain't seen one tweet from Lane, ain't seen one tweet from Kirk about how Tennessee did not deserve to be in here. You know what else this blowout loss did? It shut up the rest of the SEC. Because how can you bitch and whine about your 9-3 teams getting in when your third just got blown, whatever Tennessee was, third place, when your third place team, 11-2 team, got blown out. And it wasn't even 42-17, don't even show how much of a blowout it was. Tennessee did not look, they looked like a MAC team, like I said. They looked like a MAC team playing against Ohio State. But I ain't seen one tweet from Lane Kiffin, from Kirk Herbstreit saying Tennessee don't deserve to be there. Why that? Don't fit the narrative. SEC teams aren't supposed to get blown out. If you're going to tweet one about someone not deserving to be there, you need to do it for all of them. Because all these first round games were pretty much blowouts. The closest game was, Lord forbid, a SEC team in Clemson. Clemson, that was the only game that was close in the fourth quarter, was Clemson and Texas. If Clemson scored on that in the fourth quarter, you bring close to 7 or tie that thing up, you got a ball game. But no, Texas had the big runs. But that was the closest game, Clemson and Texas. Does Texas deserve to be there? I don't know. Clemson was Clemson only 3-loss team that actually made it because they won their conference championship. I'm just saying how that funny that stuff is. You ain't seen one tweet from Kirk, one tweet from Lane. Like I said, if he's tweeted, I ain't read it. About how Tennessee don't deserve to be there. And I think, like I said, it was a blowout loss. 8-9 matchup. Ohio State was only favored by 7. And I said 42-17, and the game wasn't that close. Tennessee scored a late touchdown against our third strings. Ohio State played all 4 of their quarterbacks that are still on the roster, even including Devin Brown, who's in the transfer portal. He played. That's how bad of a blowout it was when all 4 of your quarterbacks play. That's like I said, the house they're doing them. They're mocking the SEC with the chant SEC. It's not another way of mocking them. You're going to put all 4 of your quarterbacks in the game. That's how bad of a blowout it was. All 4, everybody get to play. That's how bad of it was. And nothing from Lane. Still waiting on that tweet from Lane about how Tennessee don't deserve to be there. Still waiting on Kirk to tweet how Tennessee doesn't deserve to be there. I'm waiting. If they tweeted something, y'all can let me know in the comments. First, all home teams won. I said blowouts. I do think I like the 12-team things. I like the college teams being awarded for home game. I like the 12 teams that were in it. The only thing I would probably tweak moving forward is how we rank them, because now you got a second round matchup with probably the best 2 teams. Arguably the best 2 teams remaining in the playoffs, and they playing in the second round. And I say that because Georgia's without Carson Beck. But Ohio State and Oregon should not be happening in the second round of the playoffs. Not in the 12-team field. Not this year. That's the only thing. I would take the 12 teams, and I would rank them accordingly. Just because you're a conference champion, don't mean you automatically get a bye. That's the one thing I would tweak moving forward, because Oregon and Ohio State should not be playing in the second round. Just my opinion. That's the one thing I would tweak. But the 12 teams they got right. Like I said, blowouts happen in all playoffs. It even happened during the 4-team era. It happens. It's going NFL. It happens. Blowouts happen in playoffs. Just because you get blown out, don't mean you all of a sudden don't deserve to be there. My opinion, but Ryan Day's there again. He cements himself. He gets him another big game win. For those who said he couldn't do it, it's not going to silence. Probably ain't going to silence none of the critics anyway from the Ohio State fan base. But yeah, he's won his first round game. Got a chance to go to the Rose Bowl and win again. And like I said, for all his detractors, like I said, the president gave him a vote of confidence. We know how that goes. But you look at Ryan Day's record, and back to what Saban was saying, in the last 6 years, he's the only person to be there 4 times. And this is including a 4-team playoff field. Out of the last 6 CFPs, he's been there 4 times. And he's the only coach that can say that. It's hard to get rid of somebody when you're the only person that can say something. I'm just saying. Like I said, some people, it don't matter what he does at this point, they want him gone. You ain't gonna change their mind. Like I said, to some of these folks, beating Michigan is more important than national championship. It is. I don't co-sign on that, but you got folks out there that feel that way. But anyway, Ohio State dominant performance in round 1. They held. They defend their home turf. No flag planting by Tennessee. No goalpost stealing by Tennessee. They probably would get out pepper sprayed anyway. Ask Michigan. Now they got a chance to get some payback against Oregon, which was a good game, 1-point game. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully this will carry over. They will play with that mentality moving forward. They need to shore up some stuff defensively, in particular the secondary. Again, Tennessee's passing game is not Oregon's passing game. The best passing game they faced this season. They did not do well. Round 1, Denzel Burke, talking about redemption, a chance to redeem himself because he got torched against Oregon. Ohio State secondary in general got torched against Oregon. So they got some stuff, some film to look at, some stuff to clean up on. So hopefully they will be better prepared to face Oregon. That's a different animal than what they saw against Tennessee. Not only can Gabriel throw it, but he also can run. He hurt us with his legs as well, similar to what Nico did in the game against Ohio State. But that's all the offense Tennessee had. Gabriel's going to be able to throw the ball some, so Ohio State got to be ready for that. But other than that, great win for Ohio State. Tennessee fans, if you are peeping this, just don't talk so much. Win something first. That's all. Other than that, just don't talk about taking over stadiums and stuff and tearing down goalposts and planting flags. Y'all, you woke a sleeping giant, and you saw what Ohio State can be like when they put all things together and they all on the same page, and the coaching is coaching up to their talent level. This is the type of version of Ohio State you're going to get, and if they keep doing that, it's going to be a tough out. And that Oregon game should really, really, really be good. So again, for all those that have peeked me out over the last few weeks, again, thank you for viewing. Thank you for subscribing. If you like this thing, please hit like, please subscribe. You want to follow me, please do so. You had anything in the comments you want to add? This is good enough for you for Ryan Day getting that big win, beating SEC. How you feel about that? Our record in general has not been good against the SEC. Ryan Day has sort of popped that bubble a little bit. Getting a win over the SEC, which is been hard to come by. Let's be honest. When he did that, does he need to keep winning out for some of you to say, all right, we'll give him a go, or y'all still want to fire regardless of how this playoffs play out? So hit me up in the comments. I do try to respond to everything. Like I said, if you like, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. My goal for the last 8 or so days of 2024 try to hit 300. So please help a brother out in doing that. But again, until next time, OHIO, go Bucks. I'm out.